大家好，大家好，皆さん、こんにちは. Hello, everyone. These are the languages I currently speak. And by the end of next year, I wish to add hola to that list of greetings. According to BYU student facts and figures, over 60% of BYU students speak another language. However, in a recent survey I conducted on campus among students who speak another language, as you can see, less than half of those students are active in their language learning. And in 20 years, that number drops to below 35%. As it turns out, BYU students are simply too busy. I would like to make the case, though, that secondary language learning is not only beneficial, but essential in accomplishing the BYU mission statement. Enter to learn, go forth to serve. Each of us must learn the various ways secondary language learning allows us to better serve as professionals, societal members, and as disciples of Jesus Christ. Let's start out with its professional relevance. Dr. Elaine Shea, the chair of communication from the University of Minnesota, discovered that language interpretation services in hospitals increases patients' willingness to ask questions, to self-advocate, and to express concerns. These components then translate to improve health outcomes and better prognosis. Regarding business, King Faisal University of Saudi Arabia extensively documented how multilingualism resulted in higher levels of customer satisfaction and more stable international partnerships. Secondary language learning allows us to go beyond simply working with each other. It betters the lives of our beneficiaries and builds genuine friendships across the globe. The next area of service has great societal relevance. The National Institutes of Health discovered that secondary language learning makes our brain more flexible and adaptable. It increases our decision-making, our emotional regulation, and our behavioral control. These cognitive functions are highly related to Christ-like attributes, such as temperance, patience, and empathy. And speaking of empathy, the American Psychological Association discovered that bilingual children have less racial biases for children from other marginalized groups. The researchers explained, the cultural experiences we obtain during secondary language learning allows us to become more appreciative and accepting of the beautiful diversity in our society. Secondary language learning fundamentally transforms who we are to become more like the Savior so that we can better serve our fellow men and women. The last area of service directly reflects the very core of our church education system, to make each and individual one of us spiritual beacons of light. The Apostle Paul once taught regarding missionary service. Undoubtedly, there are all sorts of languages in the world, yet none of them is without meaning. And Paul truly lived this teaching as he preached in Greek, Hebrew, Aramaic, and Latin. And his vision of religious service via secondary language learning has been fulfilled in my life, as two young American missionaries taught me the gospel in Mandarin Chinese, my native language. Their diligence in secondary language learning led to my conversion, my missionary service, and most recently, my father's decision to join the church. Without these young missionaries, myself, my father, or my future families would have never known the joy of eternity and have our lives change forever. Secondary language learning makes us no longer strangers and foreigners with each other and with God. No matter how difficult our life becomes, I challenge each of us to incorporate secondary language learning into our lives. Perhaps visiting an old green feather friend of ours who has been longing for our return. Perhaps replacing 15 minutes of social media screen time with shows in another language. Perhaps taking a BYU 100 level class to broaden our horizon. The possibility is endless. Enter to learn. Go forth to serve. As we enter the sacred grounds of BYU, may we learn the languages of our brothers and sisters so that we may go forth and serve them in ways that we can only imagine before. 谢谢。感謝。ありがとうございました。Thank you.